of what is the difference between a due date and an available until date. A couple of things about the organization of Canvas and the homepage and the modules. There were some questions about why certain modules were locked or why they could not be accessed, so I'll cover that. Our big main idea from last week was a production possibilities curve and what those three areas in a production possibilities curve tell us. The area of underutilization, the frontier, and then the future production possibilities area within that. So we'll go over that. We'll introduce briefly the idea of a decision matrix, what large companies, corporations, people who are about to spend a large amount of money or a large percentage of their money might go through a decision matrix. It's a very simple idea, and I'll show you an example of that. We'll play the review game together, and then I'll show you how you can access your first assessment, which is the Unit 1 test, What is Economics? And as I said before last week, once you start that test, you need to finish it, right? So you can't open it, do a couple of questions, come back, what have you. It'll lock you out, and that will be where you are stuck with in terms of a grade. So go ahead and open your Canvas page real quick, and I will go over a few of the questions or concerns people had. Okay, so first thing, hopefully you noticed last week that I added a new tab down at the bottom for TCI. You can click right on that. Remember that when you do that and you're logging into TCI, you need to make sure, move this out of the way, you need to make sure that you're using my email address for the login. So when you click on that, I logged out of mine, so now you can see this teacher email or login needs to be the jgrock@smjuhsd.org for that to open up. So that tab is new from last week, and then added yesterday is the link to the online tutoring. So starting on the 15th, which is next Tuesday, every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday that we have school, there will be online tutoring available from 3:30 to 5:30 through that Zoom link. So all of your core classes and then some electives, you can get tutoring help for any class that you may need. So that is available to you if you'd like. Second thing that came up, and this was probably the most popular or asked about item over the weekend, is when you look at, let me annotate this for you a little bit here. When you look at certain assignments have a due date, and then they also have an available until date. So there's two different dates on there. And so a lot of people wanted to know what that meant, and there was some confusion. So real quick, August 17th was the first week of school. August 24th was the second week. August 31st was the third week. September 8th, yesterday, right? Monday was a holiday, is the fourth week of school. So we've got 2 more weeks until the grading period ends after this week. The due date, August 21st, say for the Canvas and school email assignment, that is the actual date that it's going to appear in Aries as it should have been turned in, and here's your grade. So if you have not turned something in by the due date, the next day in Aries, it's going to show up as a 0 out of 10, 0 out of 20, 0 out of 40, whatever the possible score was. The available until date is the date that you can turn it in with still 100% full credit. So a number of people have had tablet issues. We had the big storm with all of the lightning strikes, and it knocked out Comcast to like 3,000 customers for 4 or 5 days. So there's been a lot of things that are outside of your control that I've kept these assignments open. So the difference between the due date and the available date is the due date is when it's going to appear in Canvas. The available until date is when you can turn it in for full credit. So you can see even things from the first week of school, even though they say overdue, they're still available and you still turn them in for full credit. When you look at, right, upcoming assignments, this will be available for you when we get to the end of class today. What is economics? That's the unit test you're going to take. Past assignments. Past assignments are available for you, right? You see these were due August 31st and September 8th, last Monday, last Tuesday, but they're still available to turn in for full credit, right? Still available to turn in for full credit. Second part of that that's come up, a number of you have completed, right? A number of you have completed items in your Edmentum. And if you do not submit through Canvas that you're finished, right? Like Antonio here, right? Completed a scarcity and mastery test. If you don't submit that score, right? If you don't submit that score with a screenshot or an upload, it's not going to show and it's not going to be automatically graded. So let's say that we go here to a certain score, here 80% on a test, right? You take a screenshot. In this, if we were in the student view, right? If we were in the student view for this assignment, what you would want to do, right, is submit that screenshot. So it'll ask you to submit that. There should be a spot for a text upload. And I'll adjust that if it hasn't happened. But here, right, you're going to connect and go through. And you can submit that for automatic grading, right? Submit that for automatic grading. So you want to be able to do that and get that done. Otherwise, you're going to have to notify me, and then I'll go in and manually do it. It's just going to take a while. So I get a number of questions as why wasn't this graded? Lastly, the last issue or problem that we have had to do with modules. So remember last week I said that generally each module, the requirement is that you complete the module before that. So to enter into module 2, you had to complete module 1. To enter into 3, you have to complete modules 1 and 2. To enter module 4 for this week, you had to complete 1, 2, and 3. And so it's just to make sure that you keep up and don't get too far behind in terms of what will happen. All right, what will happen. To clear a module, we went through this as well. To clear a module, all you need to do is go through the notes, go through what it's asking you to do, and click next. And when you get to the end of the module, it will either take you to the second one, or it'll tell you, right, you need to go back and finish a certain portion. So you can see I finished module 1, now it goes into module 2. Any questions on that?
Wait, Mr. Grock, I have a question on the topic you went over before, like the screenshot.
Yes.
I don't think we have like the submission thing to screenshot it.
I'll fix that. Let me check and see. Maybe it's not clicked. Let's see if it'll let you do that. I might have to switch that and see. Right now my page is lagging. Okay, I'll check and make sure that I see if I can open that up. There we go. Yeah, I'll check that. It won't let me do both. I'll see if I can do both. I'll check on that and then send out a notification. Thanks. Okay. Module 4, as I said, a couple of things. We'll review production possibilities curve from last week. We will play the review game online. I'll introduce the idea of a decision matrix to you, and then I'll show you how to access your exam. So, a couple of things. This week, right, in the module, we'll do the unit review game together. There is a link for you to do the review game as many times as you want before the test should be submitted by the 14th at 3:15. The video that goes over Unit 1, we watched the first 6 minutes of this. You can watch it in its entirety as much as you want. It's about 12 minutes and 30 seconds worth. And then this is how you get to your exam. All right, that's how you get to your exam. So first things first, let's go over a production possibilities curve. And as I said earlier, there were 3 areas that you needed to focus on. And so those areas were an area of underutilization, an area of a frontier, and an area of future production. So first thing that we talked about when we looked at this is the idea that this is a math graph, right? It is just 1/4 of a math graph. It's the positive quadrant. The second thing that we talked about is that this point down here obviously is the origin. The origin has a value of 0, 0, 0 for the x, 0 for the y. So we have area 1, right, which is represented by this area inside the curve. That's the area of underutilization. We have area 2, which is represented by the curve BDC. And we have area 3 that is represented by point X that is out in future production possibilities. So we've got 3 areas, and this comes from the debate taking place during the Eisenhower administrations, right? Eisenhower elected in 52 and 56, a 2-term president, in between Truman, who took over for Roosevelt after he died towards the end of World War II, and Kennedy, who wins election in 60 because Eisenhower terms out, right? You have the 2-term limit by then. So Eisenhower, being a World War II general, one of the discussions taking place in the United States during that time period was, do we keep spending more and more money on this military buildup to keep up with the Soviet Union, or do we divert some of those funds to domestic issues at home? Eisenhower and the interstate highway system, the GI Bill to get veterans training, college opportunities. So that was the big debate in the 50s that was going on, at least domestically. And so that was coined guns versus butter. We're going to spend our resources and money on guns, or we're going to spend our resources on, instead of guns, on butter, or a combination of the both. So we've got 3 areas here. All right, area 1 is underutilization. Area 2 is the frontier. Area 3 is future production possibilities. So when we look at this, Micah, area 1 is equal to, greater than, or less than 100%.
Can you repeat that?
Sure. Is this area here, and I'll spotlight it, this area right in here, area 1, represented by point A, is that equal to, greater than, or less than 100%?
I don't know.
Well, take a guess. You got a 33.3% chance.
It is equal.
Close. Less than. So the way that I keep it in track in my mind, right? This is the origin. We've got 3 areas. One greater than 100, one equal to 100, one less than 100. Less than 100 has to be closest to what? The area here that's, right, represented by 0, 0. So we know that the origin is 0, 0. So put that there. All right. So when we look at area 2 then, when we look at area 2, Aubrey, we got equal to or greater than 100%. What do you have?
Can I just guess?
Yeah.
Equal to?
Equal to is exactly right.
Yeah.
Okay. Equal to 100%. So think of it this way. When we talk about area 2, we're talking about the curve BDC, right? We're talking about the curve BDC. That represents a line, a frontier, right? The frontier is as far as you can go, right? That's 100%. So it doesn't matter how many guns we're producing, how much butter we're producing, that is the limit all the way around. So area 2, represented by the curve BDC, is equal to 100%. And so that means if we go to, now let's go with Bryce this time, area 3 is going to be what? Represented by point X. Can't type. Bryce, what do you got area 3 equal to? Less than, equal, or greater?
Greater.
Greater is right. Okay, greater than 100%. Now, so we've got 3 different areas. All right, we got 3 different areas. Let me do this. So area 1, represented by point A, is closest to the origin. It's got to be less than 100%. Then we have area 2, represented by the curve BDC, equal to 100%. No matter where we're using our resources, whether it be guns or butter, that is right there, the limit of our resources. And then as Bryce shared with us, if we take a look at area 3, represented by point X, that's greater than 100%. We need something to happen to get greater than 100%. And that could be, right, more resources. We find another oil well. We find another gold mine. Or, right, come back from World War II, everybody's getting married, everybody's having babies, our population booms. More workers can create more products. Or maybe there was a technological change. In the 50s, 60s, right? Computers were the size of rooms. Vacuum tubes were the big component within those items, including televisions. As the integrated chip, circuit boards come into being, all of those machines, smaller and smaller, doesn't take as much room anymore, doesn't take as much wood or plastic. We can use those on different things. So we can get to future production in area 3, represented in the green, by discovering more resources, having more babies, population becomes larger, or we have a technological advancement that allows us to do more with less. Any questions on that? Okay, so let's, and I'm going to send this through the chat room, but let's open up another tab. So open another tab on your browser, because that's where we'll play the review game. Let me bring up real quick this idea of a decision matrix. All right, so this is a simple idea, and I just wanted to cover this real quick with you. A couple of things. Large companies, large corporations, even individuals, households, when they're talking about a large amount of money or a large percentage of their income, will do something that's called a decision matrix. And basically, it's a cost analysis. And you've heard of this before, right? A couple years ago, there was the issue with the Honda or the Toyota airbags. I forget what manufacturer, I think it was Honda, right? Where the airbags would just go off, right? Kill people. And there was this big investigation. Did they know about the issue? Did they just decide not to worry about it because they figured it would cost them less to deal with lawsuits than it would be to fix the problem? This is something that has gone on for a long period of time. So let's say that you as an individual or you as a household, your family, decide you want to buy another car. Then you want a mid-size to compact car to do most of the traveling or the errands in and around town. So you come up with that certain class of car, and here, right, we've come up with 4 alternatives: Toyota Camry, Honda Civic, Nissan Altima, Ford Focus. We determine some criteria that's most important to us. So the criteria is how we're going to base our vehicles on, right? So we are going to use this criteria to judge which of the vehicles we should buy, right? Which of the vehicles we should buy. And it's a very simple process. You're going to pick things that are most important to you. Here we picked gas mileage, passengers, trunk size, and price. And then you just rank them. So Civic and Altima have the best gas mileage. They get a 1. Focus has the next best. It gets a 2. Camry has the worst. It gets a 3. All of them have the same passenger capacity. 5 people, 4 in the driver. All right, trunk size. The bigger the trunk size, more likely I could fit my golf clubs in the back, right? And then price. The lowest price is best. So that should be 1 here, 2 there, 3 here, 4 there. And so then all you do, right, is you would add up the total. So the total for a Camry is 9. Total for, all I'm doing is adding up the points here, you can see, is 6. Add up the points here, 4. Right? Ultima, 6. Add up the points, 4. Your Focus, 7. So then it comes down to, right? We have 2 of our alternatives are both rated a 6, which is the best, tied for the best. But then when you look at maybe probably one of the most important criterias is you can see that the Civic is $3,384 cheaper than the Ultima. And so most people would probably pick the Civic. And that's what a cost analysis decision matrix allows companies, people who are looking to spend a large percentage of their income, corporations doing. Any questions on that? Erase that and ready for the next period. All right, in that new tab of yours, I'm going to send you the link and the game pin for our review game. Okay, so I'm going to send this in the chat room. I'll also put it up on the screen. All right, so you're going to go to kahoot.it. Game pin is 9710240. So go ahead and join the game. Pick an appropriate name. Take a minute, stretch your legs. Get a snack, get a drink. We'll play the review game together. Got one more to sign in. All right, here we go. What is a tangible product? Tangible product is a good, something that you could hold in your hand. We talked about it at the very beginning of the unit, right? A good is a tangible product, something you can hold. Service is something that somebody does for you. So a haircut at a barber shop, blowing a wash at a hair salon, that is a service, not a good. All right, what is required for survival? A need, something needed for survival. Food, water, shelter. Uh-oh, look at that. We got some changes on the leaderboard. A plumber provides what? Plumber provides a service. Very good. I think you're the first class to get that one. Everybody got it right. It's amazing. Uh-oh, look at Luke. Look out, Dom. Here comes Luke. All right, a luxury car is an example of what? Luxury car would be a want, right? Would be a want. Oh, look at Luke. Bryce with 4 in a row. All goods, products, and resources are scarce. True or false? Okay. So remember at the beginning of the unit, beginning of the year, I said everything on earth is scarce. The total number of people we have, there is a finite amount of humans alive at this moment. If we had the capability, we could measure every gallon of water on the surface of the earth, right? Everything is scarce, no matter whether it's being used or not. So everything is scarce. Oh, that got some changes going there. All right. The most valuable good or service given up in an economic decision is what? Okay. Most valuable good or service given up in an economic decision is opportunity cost. So let's say you had $5 in your wallet. You're trying to decide between McDonald's and Subway. If you choose McDonald's, what you gave up was Subway. That would be your opportunity cost. That would be your opportunity cost. Oh, look at Bryce. Christian up 3 places. Lots of changes. Good or service obtained through an economic decision is what? Opportunity benefit. In that same scenario, at $5, you're going to go to lunch picking between McDonald's and Subway. If you pick McDonald's, Subway was your opportunity cost. Your benefit is what you obtained through the economic decision. So that would be McDonald's in that example. Aubrey moving up. Jordan moving up. Another alternative given up in an economic decision is what? Trade-off, right? Another alternative given up on an economic decision is a trade-off. So if you're choosing between McDonald's and Subway and you didn't consider Orchid Burger or Giovanni's or Taco Bell, right, in that area down there of Orchid, those would be other alternatives, right? Just like the four vehicles that we had, the Camry, the Civic, the Altima, and the Focus, right? We chose between the Civic and the Altima. Other alternatives were the Focus and the Camry that we really didn't consider at all. Man-made decisions can cause what in the market? Man-made decisions can cause what in the market? Shortages, right? Man-made decisions can cause shortages of goods and services. Something becomes very, very popular very fast. It's because of those decisions that we don't have enough. Entrepreneurs take the greatest risk in a market economy by producing the goods. Is that true or false? That's true, right? Entrepreneurs are the ones that, right, put up the capital, put up the money. Micah moving into first. If water is used in a chemical reaction for a product, it could be described as a natural what? Resource, right? If water is used in a chemical reaction for a product, it could be described as a natural resource. Timber would be what type of factor of production? Land, right? Timber, in which we get wood for houses, other things, right? Land would be that. Money used to produce a good or service is what type of factor of production? Capital. Okay, capital. Aubrey up to first, Aiden moving up. Just a whole bunch. Enrique 3 in a row. All right, workers in a factory are what type of factor of production? All right. Workers in a factory would be labor, be the human form of labor. We also have machine form of labor. There's only one type of capital, physical. Is that true or false? False. There's more than one type of capital. All right, a decision matrix should be used for small and large decisions. False, right? Decision matrix should be used for large decisions, not small. You generally have gone over them so many times. Bryce going back up. Christian going back up. Got a race. Choices in a decision matrix are alternatives. Is that true or false? That's true, right? Decisions made are based on the alternatives. The alternatives in that car one was the Camry, the Civic, the Altima, and the Focus. A decision matrix should be used for what type of purchases? Large purchases. The categories in the decision matrix are called what? Criteria, right? The gas mileage, the trunk size, the price, those were all criteria. All right, consumers and businesses both use decision matrices for large decisions. True. That is true. Dom making a run up. All right, the line on a production possibilities curve that shows the maximum use of resources. Frontier. Frontier. That was area 2 represented by the curve BDC. All right. Any production inside a possibilities curve, what? Any production inside a possibilities curve is what? Underutilization, right? Underutilization is that area represented by point A. So any production inside the frontier, inside that curve, is going to be less than 100%. If it's less than 100%, you're not at full utilization. It would be underutilization. That's why that is the answer on that one. Melinda, 3 in a row. Just everybody making runs. Country's allocation of resources for production is known as blank versus blank. Guns versus butter. Guns versus butter. How well resources are being used can be described as what? Efficiency. How well resources are being used can be described as efficiency. How efficient is something? Any production outside of possibilities is equal to what? This would be the area represented by point X. right? Point X, area 3, more than 100%. And to get to future production possibilities, you have to have an increase in population, an increase in your resources, or some sort of technological advancement. All right, there we go. All right, let's see. On question 16, I'm going to just go over this. And as I said, there's a link in Canvas, and you can practice this as many as you want. These 25 questions will be part of the 40 that are on your unit test. Decision matrix should be used for large decisions, right? Decisions that are large or a large percentage of your income. And we had just talked about that briefly today, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. Categories in the decision matrix are called your basically criteria, right? The criteria here, the categories that we judged our alternatives on, right? Were gas mileage, passengers, trunk size, and price. Any production inside a curve is underutilization. So in your notes there, this is still available on Canvas as well. We got 3 areas, right? Area represented by A is underutilization. We're using fewer resources than we have available, so it's less than 100%. The frontier, the curve, is called the frontier. That is the maximum possible output. We are using 100% of our resources no matter how we're allocating them. And then future production possibilities growth can only occur with an increase in population, resources, or technological advancement. Last 2 most missed questions. The line on a production possibilities curve that shows the maximum use of resources is your frontier. It's called the frontier. And then 25, any production outside of possibilities curve is equal to, that's greater than 100%. Right? So greater than 100%, equal to 100%, less than 100%. And then, as I said, the way that I keep it straight in my mind is that as we get closer to the origin, we get closer to 0. So the largest area that we have is greater than 100% has to be the farthest away from the origin. The next largest area we have is the frontier, the curve, equal to 100. And then point A is closest to the origin, so it has to be less than 100. Hopefully that makes sense. Any questions on that? Is that okay? Last thing I want to show you is how to access your exam, your test. 2 questions in the chat room real quick. Let's see what they are. Maybe I can't see them. Oh, kind of for everybody. Okay. Let me share this with you. Okay, so in your module, right? In your week 4 module, as I said, I put a link and a game pin for the review game that we just did. Those 25 questions are going to be part of the 40 that you take on your exam. From your desktop, you can click on this and enter in a game code, and it will ask you, right? You ready, set, and you can practice, right? Ready, set, and practice. If you're on a mobile device, it's going to ask you to download the app and then use that game pin. But this is open all the way through the 14th, so you can practice those questions as many times as you want. The video that we showed the first 6 minutes of, roughly first 6 minutes of, covering Unit 1. All of Unit 1 is reviewed in this video, so if you want to watch that crash course episode, you can, and you can do that as many times as you want as well, right? You have notes that you can use, and then when you are ready and you have time to do all 40 questions in one sitting, because this test will lock. If you open any other tabs, minimize the current tab or open another tab after you access that, it's going to lock and you'll end up with a score. So to access your test, all you're going to do is click on this link. You're going to get a box that looks like this. Your username that goes in this box here is your 6-digit code, your student ID number. And the network password is your tablet password or your email password. So let me show you what it looks like. I'll use one of our friends from 3rd period. So your 6-digit password goes here. Your student ID, excuse me. Not 6-digit password, that was stupid. Your 6-digit student number goes there as your username. Your password obviously would go in the password box. So let me grab this password. Right to there. All right, and then when you sign in, you're going to get 4 different areas. The one on the left where it says assessments is going to be where you want to be. So you're going to go to take assessments. So in the take assessments, there'll be one unit test open, right? Because that's all we've done is unit 1. So you'll click on that. In that, you'll have the test booklet that you would have got if we were here in person in PDF format. And then you can fill in your answers over here, right? So all goods and services we produce, as we said, right, are scarce. So there's one answer for you, right? When you're done, you'll click done. Now, obviously, I didn't submit the 39 other questions, right? So it's going to say, do you want to go back and review the items you missed? You didn't submit anything. Once you click on submit for scoring, you're done. It's over, okay? So go ahead and make sure that you're able to access that. You can always notify me if you have any questions. If you have any other concerns or need any other help, you can